Hello, everybody in the Sucavu world. Thank you for joining us tonight on our Testimonial Tuesday. I am very excited for our guest tonight. She is one of my personal friends, and I have come to get to know her. Sorry, I had to turn that down. I have just loved getting to know her over the past several months, and her story is an incredible story. She is going to tell us all about her journey. She suffers from fibromyalgia, anxiety, depression, allergies, chronic pain, and then she's had a pretty crazy bout of toxic mold exposure that she's going to tell us all about. So please help me welcome Heather Marie Mills. Welcome, Heather. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. So just to get started, I would love you to tell the community about what you were going through before cannabinoids found you.
Well, it was quite the adventure. Before I found cannabinoids, I was pretty much hopeless. I would wake up every morning and sit in a chair or a couch. I have 5 kids, and I could do the bare minimum to take care of them. Mysterious illnesses kept popping up, mysterious symptoms the doctors didn't know how to explain. They all thought I was drug seeking and just wanted painkillers, and no one really took the time to understand. And I knew something wasn't right, but I couldn't put my finger on it. And I just kept getting worse and worse over the last 6 years, just steadily downhill.
Yeah. Well, so when I met you, we met last spring, was it? I think. Yeah.
April,
when I met you, you were a completely different person than the person that you are today. You know, we had quite a long conversation about cannabinoids. And at that point, you had already done quite a bit of research on them, right?
Yeah, I knew I had to be careful what product I chose because I know that hemp is a bottom feeder plant. It absorbs toxins and heavy metals from the soil and pesticides. And a lot of the cannabinoids I tried actually made me worse. I felt worse while taking them. And the only reason I did it is because the doctor suggested I try it because nothing else we had done had worked. And I remember thinking out there's got to be a company out there that really does their research, that will really test and just know that there's a quality product. I've seen other companies step up to the plate, and I hadn't found any cannabinoid companies that stepped up to the plate until you introduced me to this. And I was quite amazed at the level of testing they did so that I felt completely safe putting it in my body and giving it to my children.
Yeah. So you started on them pretty much right away after we had talked, and you started on the cannabinoid oil, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Yep. And I can't remember. Did you start on a 300 or the 600 milligram?
Oh, no, I went 600.
Okay, that's what I thought. That's what I thought. So tell me about
strong.
Sorry, what?
I wanted more strength. I didn't want to take too much.
Yeah, better bang for your buck, right?
Exactly.
So tell me about your first, month or two experience on cannabinoids. Like, what were you starting to experience?
Well, within the first hour or two, I felt better. I didn't have the energy to get up out of my chair, but I felt good. I wasn't as hopeless. I wasn't as depressed. I didn't have anxiety. I was more patient with my kids, more understanding. And it amazed me that if this is what happened in 2 hours, I can't wait to see what's going to happen in a couple weeks. And it was slow and steady. And every day I had more energy. Every day I felt better. Every day I could do a little bit more than the day before. And at this point, we didn't even know about the mold yet. We hadn't even found out. It was just, I thought, mysterious symptoms that we'd never have the answer to.
Mm-hmm. So fast forward a couple of months, you were feeling a lot better. You had mentioned to me before, it would kind of take your flare-ups of your fibromyalgia. It would help that. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah. I was staying in a pretty much constant state of flare-up with my fibro. So and what that means is my body would flare up inflammation-wise and pain-wise, and it would be the worst it could be. And I would stay pretty much in that state. But when I was on the cannabinoids, it took me out of that flare-up so that it was just normal fibro and not constant flare-up, constant over-the-top pain. until we found out about the mold and actually left the home. And I think yesterday was my first flare up since we've been out of the house in 3 months.
Mm-hmm. So
When I was
that's
having
pretty
them
good for fibromyalgia.
constantly. Yeah, that's huge for me. Every day to just once in 3 months. I just, it's been quite amazing, I will say.
So from every single day to be in that constant pain to just every once in a while is huge for a lot of people in your similar situation. I've only experienced living in daily pain one period throughout my life, and I can just tell you, I don't know how people live like that. I honestly don't. So, when I met you, my heart broke for you. I could see how much you were struggling and how much you just were looking for something to help you. Sorry, I'm going to tear up because I just love you so much.
No, you're fine.
I just remember that we were at the book fair and you were, we were kind of in tears and just talking about what you were going through. And just to see you today, it's night and day. So I personally witnessed your cannabinoid journey, and it's been just amazing. And, once you got out of that house, can you tell me a little bit about the difference that made, just getting out of your house and being on the cannabinoid?
Well, I can tell you the first 10 days I was out of that house, I dropped 4 inches off of my waist and 20 pounds in nothing but inflammation. Once the inflammation was gone, my body just started releasing the toxins that had been stored up. They think we probably were living in the toxic mold the entire 8 years we had been living in the house. Mm-hmm. It was behind the walls and stuff. So nothing that we could have known about had we not had the air quality tested. But yeah, 20 pounds, 4 inches off my waist. I woke up and I felt amazing. And I was like, wow, I have like 10 times more energy than when I was living there on the cannabinoids. And it blew my mind. I was like, oh, this is what it's supposed to do. It was only working at like half strength because it was trying to keep the mold out of my lungs, which, by the way, I had chronic bronchitis when I lived in the house. And my lungs were always rattling and really bad. And I was always on the borderline of pneumonia. And they were always worried about me becoming resistant to the antibiotics. And when I started taking the cannabinoids, my lungs were clear. I had bronchitis symptoms, but my lungs stayed clear the entire 8 months I was on that until we left the house. And then once we left the house, I felt like a completely different person. I felt like I had done a complete 180. I had energy. I dropped all that weight and inflammation, and my hands didn't hurt. I could move my hands and they didn't hurt. I wasn't dropping things randomly for no reason. My kids and myself, there was just aggression that dissipated and mood swings that dissipated, and everything just, I swear I felt like I was looking around and there were rainbows everywhere, and it was just, everything was cupcakes and rainbows. I don't know how to explain it. It was just amazing. That's
a good way to explain it.
Complete 180s that people tell you about, and you're like, no, that's too good to be true. It couldn't happen like that. No, yeah, it did. Totally happened like that.
That's so awesome. Your story really is amazing. Now, you had brought up your children. Do any of your kids use cannabinoids?
All of my children use cannabinoids. When we were living in the mold and didn't know it was mold, I have 3-year-old twins that are very delayed. They weren't speaking. They weren't communicating more than about 5 words. We didn't know until after we left that it was probably due to the mold affecting their brains. But as soon as I started giving them the cannabinoids, they were speaking 5 new sentences within 24 hours.
That's so awesome.
My son's aggression went away completely. My daughter, who has severe anxiety and depression, started to even out and wasn't as anxious. My other daughter had severe mood swings and she calmed right down. It was like my children were my children again. They were my little babies, how I remembered them. And the twins, they just grew in leaps and bounds and started talking. And as soon as we left the house, still on the cannabinoids, they're talking in full paragraphs and sentences, and everybody can understand them crystal clear. And the doctor was hecka impressed. It was just, it's been an amazing journey. Oh,
so your doctors are
children.
Sorry, go ahead. Oh, I was just
No,
going to say, so your doctors are aware that you are all taking cannabinoids and they're fully
yeah,
on board?
yeah,
Awesome.
totally. Especially for my kid or my son, he has ADHD really bad. So it helps him and it helps my daughter with her anxiety tremendously. The daughter that's highly anxious, by the way, this summer broke her arm because she was having a contest with her 8 cousins, who are all boys, by the way. She won the contest, but she broke her arm. They were trying to see who could swing the highest on the swing set. And she flung off and she got it, but she broke her arm. She had a radial head fracture on her elbow.
Oh, okay.
After 1 week of being in the sling, I doubled her cannabinoids, knowing that one of the cannabinoids we have helps to promote bone growth. I doubled her cannabinoids, and when we went to the radiologist to have her permanent cast put on, he actually commented, "Wow, I'm really impressed with how much bone growth she has in just 1 week."
That's amazing.
Just saying, I was like, "You can't tell me this stuff doesn't work. You can't tell me it doesn't work. I'm just, I've had proof after proof after proof that this works exactly the way it says it does. And I've never encountered anything on the market that worked this well and held true to doing exactly what it claims it could do."
Yeah.
I'm more than a believer.
I know you are, and now everybody else knows you are too. You have such an incredible cannabinoid journey story, and thank you so much for sharing it with us. I hope other people out here, if you have anybody that would benefit from seeing this testimonial, please share it with them. Reach out to me or reach out to Heather if you have any questions. Reach out to anybody who shares this video with you. We are here to help, and we want you to experience the benefits of cannabinoids just as Heather has. Do you have something?
Yeah, I want to say one more thing. It's not a huge miracle. I still have pain. I still have days where I don't do well, but I am so much better than I was a year, 2 years ago. There's no comparison. It's not going to be the end all be all and fix all, but I believe it'll get me there in a few years. I believe that it will be if I take it long enough. I know that everything will work out in the end. If it's doing this much after only having been on it 8 months, I can't imagine to see myself when I've been on it a year, 2 years, what it's doing then. So I didn't want to everybody think it, miraculously I don't have anything anymore. No, I still have days where I hurt and there's pain, but nowhere near what I experienced a year or two ago. I finally have hope. I went from being completely hopeless to I have hope now. And that's priceless to me. Yeah. To give someone back their hope, that's priceless.
That I would 100%.
And you did that. You gave me my hope back. So thank you.
Don't make me cry.
It's true.
This is why we do what we do, because there's so many people out there who are just suffering, and there's no reason to suffer.
I don't want anybody to be hopeless the way that I was. I don't want anyone to have to suffer that way ever again. Never. So that's why I do this. Sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. This is true, and this is real, and this is just how much it just shows how much that these products have completely changed your life. And like you mentioned before, you're not 100% yet, but your quality of life has significantly improved, and it's visible. It's visible from an outsider.
By leaps and bounds.
Yes. So thank you so much for sharing with us, Heather. I just love you.
I love you too. Thank you so much for having me. And I hope this touches someone. And like you said, reach out to me if you have any personal questions. I don't mind. I'm here to help. So
awesome. Well, you enjoy the rest of your Tuesday and go love your kiddos.
Thank you. I will. Thanks, hon. See ya.
We'll see ya.